So, what does it actually mean to be a man? For centuries, that answer has been a moving target. Today, we're going to put a legendary samurai up against modern masculinity to see what we can learn about the pressures that shape men, both then and now. I mean, really think about it. It's a question that has never, ever had a single easy answer. The definition is always changing. It's shaped by culture, by what we need to survive, and by the world we live in. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Okay, so let's dive right in. On one side, you've got the world of the samurai, Miyamoto Musashi, a world where manhood is literally forged in violence, discipline, and just profound solitude. And on the other side, well, that's our world, the modern era, where manhood is often reframed through connection, emotional intelligence, and a sense of identity. This isn't just a small shift, it's a completely different reason for being. All right, so let's get into these two really different philosophies. First up, we're stepping back in time, into ancient Japan. Now, the first thing you have to understand about Musashi is that he did not start out as some kind of hero. Not even close. He was impulsive, he was wild, he was violent. Yeah, he was a survivor, but one without any real discipline or meaning. His story isn't about being born great. It's about a brutal, painful transformation from a raw force of nature into a true master of himself. So how does a guy like that become a master? Well, it's through this absolutely grueling path. He uses isolation to face who he really is, hardship to push himself to the brink, and just relentless discipline to build an entirely new character from the ground up. In his world, masculinity isn't just handed to you. It's something you have to earn, through pain, through refinement, and through absolute self-control. And this leads us to the real philosophical split here. Where does each of these models say the main obstacle to a man's growth is? Because the answer to that question, well, it changes everything. Musashi's philosophy is, well, it's brutally straightforward. He says, look, the world is harsh, no doubt, but the world isn't your real enemy. You are. Your own lack of discipline, your ego, your impulses, those are the things that are going to take you down. The real fight is completely internal. Now, let's flip that on its head. Compare it with a common starting point you'll find in the manosphere, those online communities all focused on masculinity. Here, the focus shifts completely outward. The problem isn't seen as you, it's the system. The dating world is unfair, institutions are biased, and traditional masculinity is constantly under attack. The enemy isn't inside you, it's out there. So, you've got these two totally different starting points. I am the problem versus society is the problem. And as you can imagine, they lead to two vastly different paths for actually trying to improve yourself. Musashi's way is all about discipline. It's about a slow, deep internal mastery of the self. It's built on just endless repetition and refinement. There are no hacks here. There are no shortcuts. And the progress? A lot of the time, it's completely invisible to everyone else, because the only victory he's really after is the one over himself. The manosphere, on the other hand, is often all about optimization. The goal isn't this deep internal self-mastery. It's about maximizing your external results. This is a world of strategies, techniques, and frameworks designed to help you win in the social game, to build status, to gain influence, to find success in dating. It's tactical, and it's all about the outcome. Okay, this brings us to what might be the single most important battleground in all of this, the ego. How is the ego treated in these different models? Because it's a huge deal. Now, this slide right here really gets to the heart of it all. For Musashi, the ego is the enemy. It's an obstacle that has to be destroyed so you can see things clearly. For what we might call the modern man, the ego is something to be understood and integrated so you can become a more whole person. But in the manosphere, well, the ego is often treated like an instrument, a tool you sharpen and reinforce to win social status. Three completely different ways of looking at the self. And of course, how you see the ego completely changes what you think power even means. For Musashi, power is purely internal. It's control over your fear, your impulses, your own mind. Winning battles is just a side effect of that. In the manosphere, power is often defined externally. It's measured by your ability to attract people, by your wealth, your influence, and your spot in the social pecking order. So the most important point here isn't about which model is right or wrong. It's about understanding that they were built to solve two very, very different problems. You can almost think of them like toolkits. Each one is a purpose-built solution, designed to help a man deal with the specific pressures and challenges of his time. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're practical, real-world responses to the way the world was. So let's put it all together. Musashi's world was brutal, it was violent, and it demanded an answer to one question. How do you become unbreakable? Our complex modern world, though, it often asks something different. How do you become whole? And the manosphere, it came about to address the current social system, asking, how do you win the game? Each model is a direct answer to the question its world is asking. And that leaves us with the final and, the most important question, one that we want to turn back to you. When you look at the world today, with all of its unique pressures and its unique demands, what kind of man do you think it really requires? And maybe even more importantly, what kind of man do you choose to become?